Yeah.
Yeah, so welcome to Cindy Says. I'm Gina.
Are we doing this right now?
We're doing it right now. You're on the phone at Target.
I am. I'm in the break room. There's someone else in the break room.
They're just probably really confused. We're going to hear someone's life story today, so let's hit the theme song and get straight to it.
We built this city. We built this city on rock and roll. Built this city. We built this city on rock and roll.
This week on the podcast, we got to talk to your friend Darren. How'd you feel about your little convo with your best friend?
It was really nice to catch up with Darren. I have a lot of fun memories of Darren from college, and we kept in touch we watched each other on Facebook, but we hadn't really talked in a long time. So it was really nice. I think he's a friend that if he lived local, we would hang out with him.
Well, I think what we're going to do is we're going to throw it over to our interview with Darren.
Well, there's a couple of things that I didn't know we were going to be doing this over the phone, but there's a couple of the whole podcast is going to be basically over the phone.
It's a phone cast.
So, I think we should clarify for people who Becca and Jordy, who they are.
Okay.
Becca was a
Is
professor
your long lost mom? You discovered her because you were on the back of a milk carton.
Uh-huh. She was a professor of mine in college who basically became my mentor, kind of like a third parent. Jordy is her daughter, who was 3 at the time and is now like an adult, like she's like 18 or something. So that is who they are. We should also, I don't know if you added any transitions, but point out that there is a moment where we take a break. And that might be obvious, I'm not sure, but
the sound quality of Darren's voice is different from the break.
Okay.
So there'll be a break, and then he sounds clearly over the telephone.
Got it.
Great. Hold on a second. Don't say anything. We're talking here today with Darren Bailey, one of Tina's former, what do you call it? Thespian.
Darren and I are best friends. We grew up together.
Oh, really?
Uh-huh.
The best of friends.
We practically came out of the womb together.
Wow. Did you discover treasure together, like pirates treasure, like in a Goonies situation or something?
I could answer that question, but
you'd have to kill me.
Yeah, I'd have to kill you.
Damn it.
No, Darren and I went to Miami together, and he was a theater major and I was a theater major, and neither one of us went to Miami with the intent of becoming theater majors.
You just showed up one day and said, "This is what we're doing."
Yeah, and Darren now lives out in California.
Got it.
Doing awesome stuff. And
Cindy, I keep calling him a stunt actor, and you're like, that's not right.
Yeah, I was like, he does stage fighting and stuff, but he's not going to set himself on fire. So yeah, Cindy gave us the assignment to catch up with someone that we haven't talked to in a while, and I thought Darren would be an interesting person to talk to.
Yeah, well, thank you both for thinking of me. There's way cooler people you could be talking to, so I'm very flattered that you decided I was worthy enough of being on your third podcast.
Yes, you are totally worthy, Darren.
Thanks.
So tell us a little bit about you, like when you started out in Miami, where'd you go to high school, stuff like that?
Yeah, so born and raised in Cincinnati, and grew up in Forest Park. I guess this podcast will be half for people listening outside of Ohio, and then half I'm going to be saying a lot of very Ohio-specific things.
Yes.
That people just go oh, he's so relatable. That's so cool.
We want you to be as relatable as possible.
Cool.
So that's the Winton Woods High School.
I did. I went to Winton Woods City Schools, and Miami University. I started off at the Oxford campus for my first year. I was an art major. I was always a really good artist and also studied acting. I was just kind of talented at both, and when it came time to decide on a major, I really wasn't sure what I wanted to do. I knew I liked acting, but I also really, really liked drawing. And I thought I thought I was taking the easy way out by being an art major, that I could just draw my way to a degree, and I could still audition for shows on the side, because you didn't have to be a major to audition for shows. I'm like, oh, well, that's great. And then I didn't realize how much of a time commitment it was being an art major I'd like spend nights in the art building just trying to finish projects, and I'd spend so much money on your supplies. They'd be like, well, here's the requirements. You have to build an abstract thing out of aluminum wire and whatever else, and be like, okay, well, I guess I'm going to go uptown and go to the art store and spend $80 on like copper wiring and stuff. I'm like, what the hell? And then I was I did realism. I did like portrait sketches and still lifes and stuff, and so abstract art was not really my bag. And then I'd write all these papers on why I've made the decisions I've made on this abstract art, and I'd get like D's and bad grades, and I was like, I'm paying for these terrible grades. This is awful. How can you grade art? It just didn't make sense to me. And so I was like, I'm done with this. I can't do this anymore.
I'm so confused as to why you had to write a paper.
I left Miami.
You had to write papers about your art?
Yeah.
That's upsetting.
Yeah, there was a professor there.
College.
But it's like, your art speaks for itself. Like, does Banksy write a paper about what he wrote or what he drew or spray painted?
Yeah, I mean, I'm all for, you do have to learn how to do certain things and justify your choices, and you have to have a reason why you're making the decisions. So I guess that, in that way, I do understand cluing in people as to why you've made the decisions. But when people tell you, I've made the decisions because of XYZ, it's hard to tell the artist, no, you're wrong.
Right.
And I had a professor that was kind of like that. This woman that was she was grading me so harshly on everything, and I really worked my ass off to do art that I didn't care about.
Yeah.
And she had one of these talks with me where it was almost halfway through the year, and she was like, well, here's what we can do. And Miami has something called withdraw pass or withdraw fail, where you halfway through, you can leave the class either in a passing state or a failing state, but it won't be a grade on your record. And so she was like, what I can do is you can leave the class today, and I'll give you a withdraw pass because you're gonna fail if you stick in. Ooh. And I'm like, this is. Like, why are you saying this to me? It was so weird. And I was like, no, I've paid for this. This is like credits toward my degree.
Right.
I'm going to stay in the class and I'm going to pass. She's like, oh, we'll see about that.
Dang, that is rough.
It was so weird.
Did you pass?
I did end up passing.
That's right.
With a C, I think.
That's perfect.
In that class, but it was the last year that I was an art major, and I just took off school for a year. I worked what would have been my sophomore year. I worked the first half, and then went to Miami Hamilton's campus part-time, like 6 credit hours, the second half of that second year, and that's where I met Tina.
And your life was forever changed.
Right.
Together, bound inextricably.
So yeah, they had, so I wasn't able to audition to be a theater major since half the year had already gone by. So they had a couple classes that you could take that were theater related, like theater for the non-major or theater appreciation, those kinds of things. And
basically Becca's classes.
So this is how we're going to get back on this
It was cheaper to take those at the Hamilton campus than it was at the Oxford campus, so I did that. And then my junior year, I guess, I wasn't a junior yet, but my third year of schooling, I went back to the Oxford campus, and I had auditioned and got accepted as a theater major and did a full 4 years at that campus. So I was in college for 6 years.
Wasn't your grandfather or something like also an artist? Like
he was actually a pretty prominent artist in Cincinnati. His name's Warren Sticktonote.
That's how you say your last name.
The best.
My last name is Sticktonote. It's my middle name is Bailey.
Whoa.
So that's my stage name. My legal name still is Sticktonote. I haven't actually dropped it or anything, but I had that decision to make once I started pursuing acting, especially in college, where I was like, I don't think I want to spend my life correcting people on the spelling and pronunciation of this name.
That's amazing.
Bailey's right there looking at me. I think I'm going to use that. And so that's what I did.
Like, all the best celebrities turned their middle names or their mother's maiden names into their, stage last name. And I never would have guessed.
In my brain, I have always pronounced your real last name improperly. Like, I've been pronouncing it Sticknath or something. So,
whoa,
yeah.
Whoa. Say that slower.
Yeah.
Sticknath.
It's spelled weird. It's Stichthen. Stinoth.
Whoa.
It's like Stichtenhoff. It's German, and the H's are silent, and it's weird, and that's why I don't use it. Thanks, family.
Yay! Well, Tina, what is your first memory of Darren Bailey? Or was he Stichtenhoff at that point?
No, he always went by Bailey when I knew him.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
So
I
he
spent,
made
I
a
spent college
transformation.
correcting like professors and be like, I know it says on my chart that I'm Darren Stichtenhoff. Could you please call me Darren Bailey? Just go by Bailey. Just change it in your records.
I was like,
I was
oh,
like
thank
always that
God.
weird guy correcting people, but it was important to me to establish that early on.
Because when I met him, it was, I think we were looking at the programs with that for the Fantastics, like I was proofing it, and I was like, what? Huh? Like, I saw it somewhere, and I was very confused. I remember asking Becca about it, and she's like, oh no. She's like, he's using his middle name as his last name because it's easier. She's like, and honestly, it makes perfect sense, and I would too.
Yeah.
Oh, Becca.
Yeah, so Christina went by Christina Bailey for a while.
Right.
She just liked it so much.
Oh my God.
I was like,
Wouldn't that have
you
been
just use T. We just need one Bailey.
It's like that's a weird
Alright.
fatal attraction thing. I'm also Bailey. That'd be so gross if she had done
I
that.
slowly started morphing into
Little
Darren.
teeny
Like,
tiny
Yeah.
Tina.
I now go by,
No, I'm just saying, like, you'd have, like, a ring on and be like,
Yeah.
this is our promise ring. And it would just be really cool, like,
The Bailey podcast.
right.
I'm watching you,
Well, I just want to do
Darren.
like Johnny Yoko it, where it's like I start dressing like Darren, and
Well,
no?
we're going back in time trying to embarrass former Tina, but that's not going to, the
It's not gonna
damage
work.
is done.
yeah, damage is done, huh?
So, yeah, I mean, Miami was, like, a big time for you guys. You both were acting in different plays, or Tina was stage managing them, and...
Yeah. Well, we did what? The Fantastics. We did Summer Tree, Ghent.
Yeah.
We still have
Yeah,
a
Gint
magnet.
was weird. Gint's one I'd like to forget about.
Oh, Ghent was
It was,
such a weird play.
We had planned this version of Peer Gynt, and it was we didn't end up getting like an actual theater space to do it. It was like in a classroom, and then it wasn't fully rehearsed. The
Nice.
lead actor had to drop out or something and got
Yeah.
replaced, and so we did this actual performance with the actor holding his script the whole show.
Oh,
And
no.
and we didn't have like costume. It was just like this
It was
weird
weird.
thing where I did not even want anybody to see it. I was embarrassed by any friends who happened to come see it, and I was like,
It was
oh my
dark
god,
too. Like
can't wait.
I think like pigs fucking each other or something. It was
Oh,
weird, or
boy.
like something like that.
Why do we
There's-
have a pig magnet on our refrigerator then?
Because I made those for everyone as a gift, just to be nice.
You made it look really cute, and if that's what was happening...
It was not. It was dark.
Woof. Or,
Um.
yeah. Yikes. But you guys pretty much graduated in the same, like, speed. Like, Tina was in Miami for 6 years as well.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think I was maybe a year after Darren, but
I
it
was 07.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay. So
yeah.
yeah, I was 08.
And then the friendship fell apart.
Yeah,
This is when
Yeah.
the wall was built between the two of you.
I moved away, and she never forgave me.
Right.
And
It's
And where did you move to?
I moved, out to LA.
Did you go
LA is
straight-
like a big. When you say LA, first of all, let's clarify this for people that aren't familiar with LA.
Right.
LA County is enormous. It's like it might as well be a state. It's so big. So when people say, "Yeah, move to LA," they're not just saying like the city downtown Los Angeles. It's just anywhere in LA County, which
Right.
could be Hollywood, or it could be like way out in the mountains somewhere where celebritydom doesn't even touch it. Like,
Right.
so you have to kind of clarify where you're talking about when people say, "Oh, yeah, move to LA. It sounds so fancy." But yeah, I moved to an area called Valencia, which is nicknamed Awesome Town.
Yes.
They have all these billboards around that are like calling it Awesome Town, like they're trying to get that off the ground, but nobody's really buying into it.
Oh, that's a bummer.
But it was fun. It actually was kind of awesome. Living in Valencia,
But-
and then
How far is
Yeah,
Valencia from LA? Like, if you had to drive.
on a good traffic day,
Oof.
maybe like 25 minutes
Okay.
to where you'd need to be. On
Okay.
a bad traffic day, like an hour.
Got it. Yeah, and that's pretty much every day.
so you went straight from Ohio straight to LA, no Chicago or anything like that in between.
No.
Wow.
No.
So you just were like, I'm graduating. I'm going out there. This is what I'm doing.
Yeah, it was a year after I graduated. I still just worked just to save up what money you might need. You'll never have enough money to move here. You just need to know that once you get here, you'll start making money.
Right.
So yeah, I did that and was ready to go. I had a few contacts, some of them from Miami actually, and they had already come out here. And one of them, Vonzal Carter, who was a fellow theater major and one of my best friends, he was getting his master's in acting from Cal Arts, and that's in Valencia. So he was living in Valencia. So it was one of those places where he could kind of recommend the area. I knew I had a close friend who was living in that space, and it made it feel like it was less of a scary decision.
Yeah. Because you're going from Forest Park to LA.
Yeah.
And that's a big leap.
Yeah, I had only visited one time, and I didn't enjoy the visit. I was like, I don't like living in a big city. This is not my cup of tea. But I knew it's where I had to be. That's just where the work is. And of course, it only took about a year before I was kind of like called LA home, and it felt like home, and I knew I didn't want to live anywhere else.
Awesome. Now, when you were little, like when you were growing up here, were you always like, I want to be a guy that's in those movies or in the plays, or I want to be an artist? Like, what were you like as a kid?
Were there a lot of ER trips? That's what I want to know.
Well, and that was my question when I was first under the impression that you were like jumping out of helicopters as a stunt person. And then
Right.
Tina is like very calmly said, no, you're going to embarrass yourself in front of Darren if you ask him about being a stuntman. Do you want to embarrass yourself in front of Darren?
The stunts I happen to do or have done out here are like very basic, just like fight choreography and
That's still really cool stuff.
Yeah.
Nothing like major. Yeah, I mean it's fun. I'm still the actor who's trying to protect himself to a degree, so I'm not doing anything like super risky.
Right.
But yeah, as a kid, my mom had told me that one of the first things I had ever said I wanted to be when I grew up was a stunt person. That I knew, I guess, as a kid, that was a profession, which is very rare for a kid to know that that's a thing you can do. And so I would do things like, rake piles of leaves in the yard into like next to the car, and then I would stand on the car and like jump into the leaves. Or
Yes.
we had a fence in our backyard that connected to the adjacent backyard, and I would like do handsprings over the fence and all these like things that in my head I'm picturing this cinematic experience, right? And it's
Perfect.
It was just my imagination kind of running wild, and watching the animated Ninja Turtle series in the late 80s,
Right.
and Power Rangers then later on.
Oh my God, Power Rangers.
Definitely like influenced me. And then of course, Jackie Chan and Bruce Lee stuff I started catching on in middle school and high school. It was just like, this is so cool.
Love it.
Yeah, so I think I that was always in me, even before knowing that acting was in me. I just knew that it was a form of entertainment that was physical, and I liked it.
Cool. Were you like the type of kid that like couldn't sit still in class and the teacher would like get mad at you for saying
Yeah. I had a lot of trouble in school. I was really, really advanced at an early age. I was reading at like a second or third grade level in first grade, and what they would do is they'd put me, when it came time to reading, they'd take me out of the class and move me into a second grade reading class for just that.
Nice.
I'd come back to school. So I became this guy who was like the weird kid.
Yeah.
And was treated differently. And then in second grade, I finished all my work and quizzes and everything super quick. And then I didn't know what to do with myself while everybody else was working. I'd start like bothering other kids, being goofy and becoming a distraction. And so the principal met with my parents, and they decided to skip me. I skipped second grade, and I moved up into third grade a couple months into the year.
And now you're learning cursive.
Yeah.
Now you're trying to figure out how a Q is made.
And it was super scary. I mean, when you're that age, it was scary to, like, all you know is the classroom that you exist in. And, like, the difference between second and third grade was a big deal.
Yeah.
So I was thrown into this class of third graders who were like, who is this second grader coming into our turf?
Yeah.
Like, he can learn the same way we can learn. It was so weird. We had recess, and, like, I would play with the second graders still.
Yeah.
And I didn't feel accepted by the third graders. but the way that I found to deal with that like fear is through comedy. When I became like the class clown, and I was like, oh, if I can connect in that way with people, I become accepted in some way. So I was the class clown all through elementary school, all through high school, and when we got voted like best sense of humor, best personality, biggest crack up. He's like always Darren.
Yeah.
So it stuck with me, but that also became, I think, an outlet to know I can entertain people, and I like performing for people in some way.
If you'd like to know the difference between Darren and I, when I had
I've already identified 17 differences.
when we had our class superlatives, I was voted most organized.
Most distracted by Darren.
Yeah. Well, see, I feel like when Darren's talking about how he got moved from one grade to the other, it's like he's already exercised that muscle of putting himself in a completely unknown, foreign,
and
uncomfortable situation and adapting.
Right.
So he probably didn't say, I'm going to move to LA because let me tell you how I handled third grade. But still, you've already exercised that muscle.
That's really true. Yeah. And I've had a lot of those types of things come up just in my life where it's kind of like, do you jump or do you not jump? Right. I've always kind of been the guy who's like, yeah, what's the worst that can happen? Not that I had much say in me moving to a different grade. That was my parents. But it did force me to, I didn't think about that till right now. I guess I'm glad that was kind of instilled in me early on.
Because I was the type of kid that never moved anywhere. We're at home, we don't do anything on school nights, and so to this day, if we go, and do something with Tina's family on a Wednesday night, I'm like, this isn't right. This is a school night. And I mean, granted, I work in schools, and so I do need to go to bed, but it's also we're not supposed to do stuff on weekday nights. That's just that's unheard of. I'm very stuck in my comfort zone sometimes, and it takes a little bit more pushing to get out of my comfort zone.
It takes very planned things let's do a podcast. Right?
Or no,
plan and control it.
Tell them about how you surprised me to go to the Lego movie.
Oh, so we went to see the Lego movie.
The Lego Batman movie.
For Valentine's Day. Gina kind of dropped a hint in a text message, and I completely ignored it, and then decided to make that a Valentine's Day surprise for her.
Right.
But knowing her, I couldn't just buy the tickets and the day of say, let's go.
Right.
That would really throw her through a loop. So I presented it to her 2 days in advance so that way she could plan ahead.
That I'm going to have to leave the house on a Sunday.
Right.
Which is the day before going to a school.
Because Saturday night, and you're like, oh, I'll be so glad that I'm going to be home all day tomorrow.
Yeah.
But Friday night gets you pumped for Sunday.
Sometimes it takes a while for me to just be okay, I'm cool with this. But then on the flip side, I do impulsive things too. But misorganized. I was the friendliest. Not every person got a superlative. In Milford, it was there's 5 categories, and if you're in, you're in, and if you're out, you're out.
That's how it was that's how we were doing.
Most organized was a yearbook superlative for Northwest High School?
Well, no, it was elementary school superlative.
Elementary?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it was an elementary school superlative.
That's adorable.
Yep.
Well, awesome. So let's talk about what you're up to now. So now you've been in LA for how many years? What?
8. It'll be 9 years in July.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Man, right now, so I'm wearing a lot of hats right now, which is great. And unless you really, really succeed at what you came out here for, you'll find that you probably do that in order to survive. Do a lot of different things. So
yeah.
Let's go over the list a little bit. I mean, I'm still doing acting when I can, stunt work when I can. I've been lucky enough to do some coordinating and some fight choreography for some films, and that's great. I'm a membership director of a theater company out here, so that means I'm in charge of auditioning new members and running monthly meetings and all that jazz. And I work at a visual effects studio called Stereo D, and we do 3D. It's called stereoscopic 3D conversion. So a movie gets shot in 2D, and then you have a bunch of artists that turn it into 3D.
That's cool.
And so I work in an operations department there. I've been there for a little over 4 years now. And it's like, it's a cool job because it's not retail and it's not food service. And
That's right. You're not waiting tables.
Yeah. And this is not me saying that to down you, Tina. Target is a wonderful company.
Yeah.
Glad to have a job there. But I've done that most of my life, and I just was tired of working in that customer service type of position.
I haven't done it since high school or college, so it's a little bit different. My career has taken some weird turns this past year, so.
And this past weekend, she just ran a Lego Batman movie scavenger hunt at Target.
Right, yeah. So it's kind of nice to do something. It was honestly better than I thought to go back into retail for a little bit, just to have a little bit of break from real quote-unquote work, you know?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, what is the 1,000-pound, I know you guys, was it the 1,000-pound theater? Is that what you guys founded?
No, 1,000 Pounds Action Company.
Action Company, okay.
So in 2010, Von Zell Carter, myself, and then a friend named Chris Cowan, who went to OSU. He was a film guy who had worked with a lot of different people who were in Miami's student-run film program, MAFIA, Miami Association of Filmmakers and Independent Actors.
Oh, Miami's trying to sound all hardcore.
So the three of us, we were just hanging out. It was New Year's Eve of, it was 2009, December 31st, 2009, and we were just all hanging out. And for whatever reason, we're like, hey, we should shoot like just some little fun like fight video. And Chris said, yeah, I have some visual effects I'd like to maybe test out on something. Can we maybe get some of us like into like a park tomorrow and just kind of shoot something and see what happens? And we did, and it was fun, and we just really liked it and said, oh, cool, maybe in a couple weeks let's shoot another one. Shot another one, and this was just for ourselves, for our own amusement while we were working on other projects and just wanted to have fun on a weekend doing something. And then, lo and behold, like, after a few of these projects came out, they started, I guess, getting buzz online, and various martial artists or stunt people reached out to us, people that we had looked up to in the independent martial arts filmmaking community came to us and said, hey, we really like what you're doing. We'd like to be a part of your project if you ever need help. We're like, yeah, the more professionals, the better. Like, come on board. So
that must have been really cool for you, like to have people that you look up to say, hey, we like what you're doing.
It was like, and we were just doing it for ourselves, but then so were they when they started making their own films too. So it just validated that, like, we live in a time now where you don't have to wait for somebody to like give you the job.
Right.
We're lucky enough to have a place like YouTube where you can just make your own content, and if it's good and if you take your work seriously enough, somebody's going to take notice. And so we kind of like blew up, and over that next year became this very viral thing that was doing a lot of like fan content, fan films like based on Street Fighter or Naruto. Cool. And we were like, we found ourselves like in a couple years being guests at panel conventions and like anime expos and all these things, and this life kind of opened up to us. We kind of made our own back door into the industry that we thought would be so hard to get into by just doing stuff for ourselves, and all these contacts, and wanted to start working with us, and directors we didn't think we'd meet, and producers, and became associated through that team. And that's really where stunts kind of happened for me, where that's not why I came out here. I had gotten my degree in theater and studied acting, but people associated me through this 1,000 Pounds Action Company, and it was like, oh yeah, Darren's a stunt guy.
Yeah.
So I'm like, well, I love doing stunts for sure. I'll if somebody wants to give me work as a stunt guy, and I feel comfortable doing what's required of it, then for sure I'll do it. And yeah, that lasted for about 4 years, I guess, and then it created a lot of opportunities for people that were on the team. We had about 10 males and females on the team, and they all started getting real legit work and offers to do stuff, and now people from our team are like choreographing Marvel movies and DC movies and doing stunt doubling like Iron Man and Winter Soldier and stuff, and you're like, all right, well, that's cool.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's I feel like proud of what we were able to accomplish. It was a nice little chapter in my life. I'm really happy for the success of my friends, and was glad that I could help create kind of like a footstool for them to be seen by the right people and now be doing what they love. So that feels really rewarding.
Yay.
That's awesome.
That is so cool. So what are you doing now?
Right now, I've kind of, obviously 1,000 pounds isn't the thing anymore, so now it's just focused back on myself and kind of like, that was a fun time, and I maybe got away from acting a little bit, so now I'm really trying to put the energy back into acting and writing my own material, and I was not the guy who was into all the anime shows and fan fiction kind of like content. I was like the guy who goes and watches art house cinema by himself on a weekend. So I'm like writing more stuff and just trying to get the Darren Bailey voice out there in some way. And so hopefully this year I've written a film called Stillwater, and it's kind of it's a drama thriller that's set in Oklahoma. It's a short film. And it's already fully cast. I got a director attached and a DP attached. And it's just a matter of finding funds and resources and time to be able to make this thing hopefully in the fall. But
wow,
if and when I do, it'll be nice to get something out there that's wholly me in some way.
Do you feel like you're like at a phase of your life where it's like trying to assess like, well, now what's next for me? Like what kind of like impact am I going to leave behind? I don't know. Like Tina and I are in this point of our lives where we're like, holy crap. We are like in our like early 30s. Like what are we doing? Like just
for sure.
Yeah.
Definitely. And I'm 33 now, and I had heard somebody had said when I first came out here, like, by the way, just so you know, it's going to take about 10 years for you to actually get where you want to be.
Yeah.
On average, that's the average out here. And it's I find that to be pretty true. And there's definitely exceptions to the rule, but I've been out here 8 years now, so I'm kind of right on track to having that kind of big epiphany of like, I need to like do stuff. I have these small little success stories that keep happening along the way, and those are great, and I'm very thankful for those. But now I'm like ready for the next big thing. I have a lot that I want to say as an artist, and I'm starting to feel that in a big way. And luckily these 8 years have spread my network out in big ways, and I know a lot of people that I just didn't know that can kind of like help me on my own personal journey, and I'm not afraid to go to those resources and ask them to be a part of it.
Right. So like, has your definition of success like morphed since you've like arrived at LA? Like, are you still chasing the same things, or is it?
Yeah, I mean, there's still. I'm not financially successful where I'd like to be. I'm not like self-sustaining, doing my own art and making a living off of it.
Right.
That's, I guess, the ultimate goal.
Right.
But I'm successful in terms of I'm living in LA.
Right.
One of the most expensive cities in the U.S., and I am working in the entertainment industry full time.
Yeah.
I'm able to do creative stuff when I can. I have a lot of respect from the acting community, from the stunt community, from so many people, and it's I've learned to focus on all those positives, because it's really easy out here to focus on the negatives and how you didn't get that audition, or you weren't good enough for this thing, or you're not attractive enough for somebody else's show, whatever. Like,
look who got that project. I didn't get that project, but look who did.
You can't do that. The city will like eat you alive doing that. So I'm just like happy to be included in things. I'm genuinely happy when my friends succeed.
For sure.
I love sharing their work and being a part of like their journey. So that has like served me really well. And there's still just that kid in me flipping into leaves. That's excited to be out here. And like, I never want to get numb to where I'm at. This is like amazing, I think. So hopefully I find those opportunities in the next couple years or something, to be a part of some really, really big special projects.
Yeah, you've probably seen like a lot of people like show up in LA and like didn't make it. You know, like had to leave. I would assume.
Yeah, no. Apparently, the move-in rate is the same as the move-out rate every year. So it stays pretty balanced every year.
And you've developed a very strong like survival toolkit to like stay afloat and, you know, like a healthy sense of realism of like, I'm not going to just show up here and put my suitcase down at the bus stop, start singing, and I get discovered.
No. When I first, like the first job I got out here, because I couldn't come out to like do interviews for jobs, you know, like I just had to come out here not knowing where I was going to get hired, was I signed up for a background talent agency, and just started like getting familiar with working on TV shows and sets as a background actor. And I highly recommend that to anybody, because you don't need a background check. You don't need a prior experience. You just have to look like what they want to cast you as.
Yeah.
And it was cool. It was great for me to see how the industry really worked from a distance, and still be on camera for some things. But I never got to the point where I was like, see, I'm an actor because I'm a background actor. This is great. But there are so many people that are out here that they think the background acting's so prominent, and like that's always hilarious to me, how serious some people take stuff like that. And I am definitely the realist who's like, guys, you're just background. Like,
but where can we find you in these TV shows in the background?
The Office.
You were on The Office.
I was. Yeah.
Desperate Housewives.
Desperate Housewives.
Tina's
already. She's like a moving IMDb.
Those are the only two I know, because I remember he posted something about there was something in the office that was behind him and it fell, and he said Steve Carell checked to make sure he was okay.
Oh my god!
Yeah, that's true.
That's
there's an episode called Business Trip where Michael and Andy and Oscar go to Canada, and so there was an airport scene that we were filming. I was just a guy like waiting in this, I guess it's just a wait area, and they had this like American flag on this giant piece of wood that was mounted on the wall behind me, and it just randomly fell off the wall and landed in this little nook behind my head. It didn't hit me or anything, but it was heavy. It would have really knocked me out. It would have hurt. And like, everybody was silent. I mean, it was a loud crash. Nobody said anything. And then Steve Carell, who was like filming at the time, was like the first person to just be like, "Are you okay? Does anybody want to like check to make sure that this is safe?" Like, he was the only one that was concerned. And I was like, "Thank you, Mr. Carell." And they repositioned it and moved me.
I love it.
But
Desperate Housewives. I remember because I read a status where you were a waiter that bumped into like Eva Longoria or whatever.
Oh.
And he was
Terry
like,
Hatcher.
Yeah, Terry Hatcher. And he's like, and you were something like, they're real and they're nice or something.
I always just love stories where you hear, that guy was super nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or that lady was super nice. You know, like, I don't know why it bums me out to hear when celebrities are mean, because you're allowed to be
good people.
But I'm mean sometimes. Like, I'm not my best self sometimes. Why am I expecting all these people to be nice all the time?
Like perfection?
But I would have been heartbroken if Sean Astin was an asshole when I met him.
Right.
Or Jason Segel. I would have been crushed.
Yeah. It's tough on set to really judge how nice or mean somebody is. Like, when you're in the middle of working, and depending on what's going on in your scene, like, sometimes you can get the cold shoulder from somebody, but I might be in the same position to do that as well. If I'm like focused on something, like there's a time to like be the pal and the buddy on break and show your true colors. And then there's like the time to work. So I never take any of that stuff to heart if I'm not like somebody's best friend, on set. But it is always great when you get to meet somebody who shows you their true colors, and they're really warm colors.
Nice. Yay. Hey guys, we're going to take a quick break and hear a word from one of our sponsors. Do you have an appetite for Russian gossip, but wish it were a little more animated? Then check out this week's sponsor, the 1997 animated musical Anastasia. Watch as the tables are turned when the dashing Dmitri and a Russian version of Frasier Crane try to bamboozle their own government. What a refreshing change of pace from watching Russia interfere with U.S. democracy. Revel in the voice acting of the incomparable Meg Ryan, John Cusack, Hank Azaria, Christopher Lloyd, Kelsey Grammer, and wait, who's that? Is that Angela Lansbury? We couldn't escape that nasty woman even if we tried. She's so persistent. So Darren, you're going to be doing actual podcasts later. Like, this is just like your first foray into it. And we're glad that we're like literally the baby pool for your podcasting experience.
Much. I'm honored. I'm honored that it's with a friend.
Yay.
That's the best part.
You know, when you're going to lose your podcast virginity, lose it with a friend.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Well, since we are now like all warmed up and stuff, Tina, do you have those rapid fire questions handy?
I have some, but we'll see how they turn out. Because as I was reading them, I was like, oh, I don't like these anymore.
Oh, well, yeah, we did a whole episode about questions, and you kind of hit the ultimate question of,
I know,
what would Staples be called if it weren't called Staples?
I know.
We kind of
So this is just you ask a question and I answer as quickly as I can.
Yes.
Like first thought.
Don't like overthink it, but you don't have to like Rorschach test it.
Right. So some of them are going to be easier to answer short form. Some of them might be a little bit harder. But we'll give it a shot, and if it sucks, we'll just cut it out. So.
And if you say something like super offensive, we'll edit it so the audience won't know.
Right.
Okay. I'll do my best.
We know you will.
All right. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm nervous.
Don't be nervous. It's Tina.
Thanks.
Speed questions. Are you ready?
I am ready.
All right. Favorite Miami memory?
Clown Logic.
Career goal?
Actor.
One word that represents Ohio?
Bland.
Oh! One word for LA?
Entertaining.
Favorite movie?
Donnie Darko.
Do you believe in New Year's resolutions?
I believe in people want to believe in them.
Something you wish you invented?
Bottled water.
Oh, smart.
How is caring for a pig in comparison to caring for a dog?
Easier.
Do you believe in aliens?
Yes.
Without giving a name, have you met any rude actors, like famous celebrities?
Yes.
What is your favorite candy?
Sour Patch Kids.
All right, that's all I have. Do you have any you want to ask?
I was going to ask, what are you watching on like streaming services right now?
Oh,
Like
yeah.
what's on your Netflix queue, or what is it that you're just obsessed with right now?
Ooh, I finished the OA. I really like that.
Okay.
I enjoyed Stranger Things. Yeah. I did not enjoy. I just saw the People versus O.J. Simpson.
You didn't enjoy that?
Okay, there's all the hype that was surrounding it. I thought it felt like a glorified Lifetime movie.
Yeah.
I thought so much of it was so forced. There were some brilliant performances in it, but
Right.
I just did not understand why it got so much of the attention that it got.
Huh.
And I never bought Cuba Gooding as OJ.
No, I didn't
It
either,
sounded anything
no.
like him.
I agree with you on that one for sure.
I was obsessed with John Travolta's performance. Like, obsessed.
He was distracting to me.
He was so distracting, and that's why I was obsessed with it. If I really had to pick somebody that I
Sarah
love,
Paulson did great, I thought.
it's all about the CBV. I love Courtney B. Vance
Yes,
so much.
you do.
And
He and Sarah Paulson were the two best things about that show.
Sterling Brown did good.
we always have to give it up for Sterling K. Brown.
Courtney did a great fuck.
He did get, yeah, that was
Remember?
good. Yeah, I was
Yeah.
like, wait, what are you talking about? I think just like reminding myself of like race relations, and I was in the 4th grade when all this OJ stuff went down. So all I remember is our class clown of our school, Nate Thrift, sitting in the room. They pulled out the TV and we watched the verdict being read, and Nate Thrift was like, Kato did it! Kato did it! And I'm like, who's Kato? Nate's funny. Like, I just was like, whatever, why are we sitting here watching this? If we were gonna pull the cart out for Bill Nye, I'm on board. Or bring me some LeVar and I'll do Reading Rainbow, even though I'm in 5th grade now and I'm a little old for it. Like, so I just remember the Bronco, I remember Kato, and I remember Nate thinking that OJ was not guilty. He said Kato did it.
Wow.
But, yeah.
I feel like it's tough. I don't know if I have a memory of the actual incident. I was 11 or 12 or something, and I don't remember. I remember seeing the images like mocked on SNL or talked about incessantly from every news media, but I don't remember any like actual impact. Like 9/11, I remember where I was, what was happening at that exact moment. It was impactful. This is just like a mess of images that have just been played by everyone everywhere, and I don't have any real sense of time.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we lost a whole week's worth of sleep because of that show.
See, like, I do remember the Bronco, so I remember the chase, and I remember the verdict, and I think for me, as an adult, I enjoyed it because it filled in other things that I had forgotten, or, like, I didn't know about.
Like, that he was not driving the Bronco, he was in the back.
I always assumed he was driving it.
Yeah.
And then I thought it was a full chase. I didn't know that they had shut down the freeway and just let him drive.
Right, I didn't remember that part either.
The person who took me out of the TV show was Ross Kardashian.
Ross Kardashian?
Yes.
David Schwimmer.
He's swimming around.
Yeah,
I was like, what is happening?
There was that horrible moment in the where the Kardashians all go out to dinner and they get seated, and he says that line or something about like, here's how the Kardashians behave. Like,
right.
Nothing means anything unless you have like dignity about it or whatever he said. That was just like, okay, this is not a conversation that ever took place.
No.
Right, that is correct.
So
right.
forced just so that you can please the Kardashian watchers into like being like, oh, there's young Kim.
Right.
That's why I'm watching your
Courtney.
show. Yeah. And the other one, and then the guy, Rob. Tina knows way more about the Kardashians than I ever thought she would.
I really don't.
You knew the whole story, and I was like, I had no idea that Robert Kardashian was involved with the O.J. Simpson trial. Because I didn't know who he was. I didn't care.
Yeah, nobody cared. No. And it's weird, when you go to, like, IMDb, it says there's 2 more seasons of The People versus O.J. Simpson coming out. I'm like,
wait, what?
The next People versus O.J. Simpson is American Crime Story.
Yes,
they're doing Katrina.
A continuation.
Yeah,
I don't know what they're going to do with it, but it's like slated to come out. I'm like, I don't understand why.
Oh, so American Crime Story, American Horror Story, 2 different things.
Both by Ryan Murphy, 2 separate things, and they're serialized.
So maybe it's not going to be O.J. Simpson necessarily?
No, it's going to, like, they're serializing it just like they did with American Horror Story. Like, the first series was about the house, the second series was about this, like, a medical hospital or something. So yeah, they're going to do a different one each time. And so the next one's going to be about Hurricane Katrina. And from what I understand, Annette Bening is going to play either the mayor of New Orleans or the governor of Louisiana. I know Annette Bening's in it, but I don't know anything else. And I know that they're going to do a Monica Lewinsky one too.
Well, and there's going to be something about the 2016 elections is going to be...
2016 election is American Horror Story.
Right.
Yeah. So Ryan Murphy's just, like, doing this whole, like, serialized thing, which I think is pretty cool, but I'm not a horror person. Do you like horror movies, Darren?
I am a huge, huge horror fan.
Ooh, yeah.
I love everything horror.
Good for you, man. I mean...
The
scariest thing that we saw was Stranger Things lately, and that's like cute spooky, you know, like that's
nostalgic
with some jump scares.
Okay.
But I saw Signs in the movie theater, and I was like, and I'm done, guys. We left the theater, and I'm like, and I'm done. Like, that Brazilian birthday party ruined my life. I am out of here. Like, I don't know what it was. It was the stupid alien walking around. I was like, not on board.
You don't like aliens, do you?
I like aliens.
You don't like E.T.
E.T.'s different though, because E.T. got sick and the government was trying to like take over. It was the whole control part of it, and he was sick and he wasn't happy. Like that's when I was out.
You didn't like what was happening to E.T., but not that you didn't like the movie E.T.?
Well, that just kind of ruined it for me. I was like, and I'm done.
Oh,
like there's just parts where I just like stand up and I'm
Yeah.
like, and I'm out. He's in this like white room and he's turned all white and gross and he's sick and I can't deal with him being in distress. So I was done. I couldn't wait for it to get better. I just couldn't because I was just so upset.
But I thought you were physically
feel
grossed
bad
out by
for
his
you.
appearance.
Yeah, and when he's like sick.
I thought it was just in general.
No. I just didn't like it when he was in distress. I don't like it. Oh.
But, I mean, what is a movie without the protagonist not being in distress at some point?
It was just too much. It was beyond the pale for
Oh,
me. And it was the government. It was the government. And, like, I feel like when I was in the elementary school, I was still, like, and the government is bad. Like, I just was like...
When's the last time you watched E.T.?
Don't remember. Because I had a nightmare about it, like, after I watched it. Because I was, like, he came into my room and he was all sick. And I'm like, no! Go away!
A movie that I want
You
her
need to rewatch it.
I know I do. It's just, I was very upset.
I really want her. She's never
It's
seen.
not as bad as you remember it.
I know. That's probably
He's probably
100%
right.
true. I was traumatized. I did not like it.
I want her to see Office Space. She's never seen Office Space, and I feel
Yeah.
like based on some past job, we were both used to work at the same place, and I feel like based on that place, she would be able to relate to this movie.
And I'm like, too soon.
Yeah.
Too soon. What is a movie that you have seen that everybody like rants and raves about, but you're like, like I don't get it. I mean, People versus O.J. Simpson's kind of like a TV show version of that, but do you have a movie?
You're right. Ooh. See. That's a good question. And I see a lot of movies.
It's true.
Usually I'm the one who really likes the movie and everybody else hates it. So, let's see. You know what? When Superbad first came out,
Yeah.
I thought it was okay, but I didn't understand why it was the thing that it was. I had watched it a couple more times since, and I guess it started to grow on me more.
Yeah.
But I remember that one being one where I didn't want to admit that I didn't like it because everybody I knew really enjoyed it.
Totally. Yeah. I remember seeing that in the theater. I mean, I'm all for a good dick joke, but I just don't need to see them drawn around everywhere. Maybe that's why I'm married to you, Tina.
Maybe.
Maybe. Well, do you have any other questions for Darren, Tina?
Do you want to loop back around and ask about Clown Logic?
Oh, yeah.
Clown Logic.
I'm just going to leave that out in the open.
Oh, yeah, because
you had questions about that, Gina.
Yeah, so describe what do you were you in it, Tina?
I was not in it. I remember seeing it, though.
Got it. All right, so what's Clown Logic?
Clown Logic was there's a guy in the theater program named Tim Simeone. Tim was very into clowning and miming and that type of performance. And so he, for his like senior thesis or caps, I don't know what it was, but he got permission to write and create his own show, which was going to be based around the idea of clowning. And he was going to try to also make like a political statement about the need for water wells in Africa or stuff. I don't know what he was going to do, but I guess he was overwhelmed by it and reached out to myself and Beth Stelling, who is now a popular stand-up comedian.
Yay, Beth Stelling!
Yeah, so Beth and I, we were all in the same graduating class at Miami. And so he said, hey, I need help with this thing. Would you guys like to help fulfill my vision, but also if you have sketches or whatever about your own life that you want to write, like we can talk about that and rehearse that, and it'll just feel like we all have equal weight, even though this was my idea. And we said, sure. So it was just this cool opportunity to, like, for the first time, reflect on my own life and write sketches about my stuff and hope that it's going to be relatable enough that an audience will like it and that it won't just be something that my family gets, you know? And it was super rewarding. The president, I think it was President Hodge, came out and saw the show, and he said it was his favorite thing he's ever seen at the school.
Oh, cool.
And we had a lot of, like, professors came and saw it and was like, this is what theater should be. And a lot of the stuff that Miami is doing right now is not what it should be. And it was just this weird thing where some professors really liked it, and some professors were didn't like myself, Tim, or Beth for the remainder of our time there because they thought that we were upping them in some way. It was so weird.
Really? I didn't know that part.
But there's some sketches that still remain on YouTube or whatever, but it was, and they don't hold up out of context, I don't think, but it was just a fun time to bond with two great people and make a show, and kind of forced me to look at my own writing in a way and be like, hey, cool, I do have things to say, and I'm good at communicating them, so I'm going to keep doing that.
There you go.
For me, as an audience person who saw it, what I remember is it was funny. It had clowns in there, so it was funny. But
so you're just it's got clowns,
so it's funny. No, but I mean, it would be weird to have something with clowns and not have some humor in it, right?
Yeah.
But then it was also it was like you were saying, it was very relatable, simple situations that just. It made you think because it was relatable, but it also kind of was oh, okay, there was just something about it that was very universally human and relatable,
Hey, yeah, I agree. And I think that was kind of the criteria when we were picking our sketches was it can't just be super personal. You have to find an abstract way to communicate this personal idea so that it can be acceptable. And not to be afraid of just because you're in the clown makeup, you still have to be vulnerable. You can still do a deeply personal, moving, sensitive piece that's not funny at all, and that's okay. Mm-hmm. And we had a good balance. I think we structured the order of the sketches in a way that took the audience on a good emotional ride.
Mm-hmm.
So I was proud of that show. I think it's something that if we would have all chosen to stay in Ohio and live our lives, we probably would have kept working on it and probably toured colleges with it in some way or something. But, I'm glad it is what it is. I'm glad It's just a happy memory.
And I think when you left as an audience member, everybody got a clown nose or whatever.
We did. Yeah.
I love it. That's really cool.
It was great.
It was really cool.
Okay, so I have two final questions.
All right.
My question to Darren is, Darren, do you have any questions for Tina? We've been asking you all these questions. We've been watching you on Facebook.
Yeah.
But on the outside looking in on Tina's life, do you have any questions for Tina?
Yeah, I mean, we, before this podcast, we caught up a little bit on the phone and were able to talk about some things. The biggest theme being Tina's now married to a woman.
Yeah.
Dun, 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 reveal. She took off her mask and became a lesbian. No, that's not how that works. That's not. I want to make sure that's very clear. That is not how that works for the audience.
Yeah, but where do you see yourself? Okay, because when I knew you in college, you were very gung ho about stage managing, and that was very important to you, and you were very good at it. You were very into the theater world,
mm-hmm.
and you and Becca Eaton were super close. So I'm curious to know, one, do you still have a relationship with Becca and how's she doing? And then two, is theater or that world important to you anymore? And what are you doing to see that through?
Sure. Great
Shots
question.
Fired, Darren.
So basically, just to give you a little bit background about myself, when I was at Miami, I was studying to be an English teacher, but I also was getting my degree in theater, and I thought, I could be an English teacher and I could do theater with students in high school, or I could go work in the theater.
And when you student taught at Mason, you did do theater
I did do
classes.
both of those, yes. And so to kind of build up my resume, I became a camp counselor for Girl Scouts. And which is where I met Gina, which we both hate that we met each other at Girl Scout camp because it sounds very
I didn't know it was a cliche to fall
right.
in love with another counselor at camp, but apparently it is, and I hate being a cliche, but it happens, so whatever.
So I went there one year, and then the second summer I was looking for an internship in the theater, and I didn't get one. some of them were, were just awful, like didn't pay anything, and I knew I wouldn't be able to really survive. And then others I wanted and I just didn't get. So the camp person at Girl Scout camp,
your boss,
kept telling me to come back and offering me more incentives to come back. So I did. She gave me a really sweet kind of deal as a camp counselor, where you get to like travel with kids and do fun stuff like scuba diving, but you're getting paid to do it. So it's really cool. And that's the year that I met Gina.
So, like, you were basically bribed to coming back to work.
Right.
She took that bribe.
I did.
And then I showed up.
And I did not like Gina at first. I did not want to be her friend.
She did not like me at all.
But then I got stuck in like a 3-hour car ride, just the two of us together.
Because I forced myself on her.
Uh-huh.
I was like,
not
we're
literally, not physically. And
like, this girl probably does not know how to get to date in the airport, and I just went. So I don't want to sit through this diversity training. No, I think it was the child abuse training.
And I was like, you know what? I don't mind getting lost. I can handle this. You don't need to come with me. And she's like, no, I should go with you. I'm like, no, I'm good. So she ended up coming with me. And she laughed at my jokes, and I liked that.
We talked about making Footloose, like, bring it back.
Uh-huh. And so she ended up getting me like a Footloose DVD, because we had talked about Footloose. And then that weekend we ended up watching it together. And pretty much every weekend since then we hung out. So once the summer camp ended, there came a point where we kind of were like, is this something more than just being friends?
You were just like trying to figure out what you were going to do with your career. You were trying to find a job.
I was, but for us in our relationship, we were kind of like, what does this mean for us? And so it
all started when my sister, the rainbow carrying flag lesbian in the family, was like, what if you guys had feelings for each other?
Which I already did, but I was trying to ignore. You had never really...
Blithely unaware of anything.
Right.
Started thinking about it seriously for like a week and was like, huh.
Right. And so basically, I come from a conservative family, a very strong Christian family. So when Gina and I started dating and being together, and I decided to tell them, they didn't handle that very well. And it was very stressful to live at home. And I knew that for my own sanity, I couldn't live at home, really. There came a point where there was one night where I was like, I can't. I made Gina stay on the phone with me because I was afraid that I might try to hurt myself. So I made her stay on the phone with me until I knew I would fall asleep. So I think I fell asleep around 4, woke up at 8, and I went straight to her house. And I told her, I was like, you're my home. Wherever you are, that's where I am. And basically, without asking her mom, just moved into their house.
Just moved right in. Then we did a second year of camp together and moved out of our houses.
Right. So I had a hard time finding a teaching job. I didn't really at that point want to. I thought that if I had to do theater for a living, I would have to move away, and I didn't want to move away because I just had her, just started a relationship with her, and had a hard time finding a teaching job. But was offered a full-time job with Girl Scouts, so I started working in the nonprofit world. So that's mainly what I've been up to since graduating. As far as with Becca,
I want to interrupt and tell you the first thing that happened when Tina came out to her family, like one of the first places she went was to Becca. And
Becca was the first person I told.
Yeah, she took her to Applebee's and told Becca, and then Becca.
Well, it was during the time of the whole Katy Perry song, "I Kissed a Girl and I Liked It," and so Becca and I were emailing about some theater stuff, and I was like, "Oh, by the way, I kissed a girl and she liked it," and her response back was, "Let's go out for lunch. Let's go have lunch." And
I just remember Becca looking at us once very urgently, and she said, "You're going to get all sorts of slime and toxicity thrown at you.
Right.
And you need to know that there is nothing wrong with what's going on between the two of you, and just to like rise above it as best as you can."
Right.
Like, she was just like so perfect.
So
she's such a like shining light.
Yeah.
In a world that doesn't deserve her
the
kindness.
world does not deserve
that is
Becca.
At Miami, I'm glad she has a home at Miami Hamilton, but she's so much bigger and better than that world.
We're gonna tell her you said that.
What kind of stuff do you write?
The stuff that Becca and I were writing is kind of we're calling it a play, but it's not a traditional play. So I mean, I don't really write too much right now, to be honest.
We're using all of our creativity in this format.
Yeah, I mean, I started doing some, rewriting some plays and things like that, but I haven't really done too much.
Yeah.
That's all right. You're healthy and happy, right?
Yeah, I'm. I mean, like with everything that's happened this year, and just some rough stuff in general, I have anxiety that kind of came to a head this year. So I'm working through that, but I'm working through it. I'm getting stronger. The one thing that that is constant for me is I'm constantly grateful for what I do have. Like,
exactly.
We love our house. We love each other. We have friends and family. We get to do things like make a podcast if we want to. You know, we have the means to do that.
We have the time to do that. We're not like having to struggle to make ends meet all the time. And even though Ohio is bland, there are cool things happening. I know, it's so funny. It cracked me up. But there's cool
You're
stuff.
Not wrong.
We're not saying you're wrong. You know, but we did buy some chicken tikka masala sauce. Milford's getting its first Indian restaurant.
We're just kind of like,
we're pretty pumped about that.
What a weird thing to celebrate.
Do not even. You don't even understand how far I have to drive to get good Indian around here.
Milford's diverse now.
It is. We've got so many check-in-to-cash places. We have a diversity of check-in-to-cash places you can go. But we also have our... Loveland can't say that they have an Indian restaurant.
I mean, I
don't even think Forest Park can say that they have one.
I have no idea.
I'm just saying. What were you gonna say, Tina?
I think we're like he was asking if we're happy. I think we're happy, and we're like, you know, we're gonna have kids, and if we don't have kids, we're just gonna travel. Like we've been, you and I are very fortunate. We've gone to Paris, we've gone to Italy, we're going to Mexico soon. We're going to Disney next month.
We always ignore the Dominican Republic, but we went there too.
We did go there. We've gone to England.
Yeah. So we've got a lot of really cool things that are happening. It's like this whole thing of like, oh my God. Like,
we both have been very fixated on death lately. Yes.
So, that's why we're talking to you to help us ignore. So this is going to be my last question. I'm just kidding.
Take your mind off death.
Yeah. Isn't that what life is? Isn't it? No, it's not. So anyway, my question to you is actually...
What a service I'm providing.
Oh my God, you're providing such a service. So when we first started this podcast, one of Tina's friends from Camp Joy that she worked with, our dear friend Kyle, asked us to figure out, and he was just like, I said, what kind of questions do you have for the podcast? And most people were just like, what's your dining room table look like? But this guy, he was like, what's the meaning of life? So we use every episode of this podcast to try, like, when we're talking about the Lady and the Tramp movie, what is its theory on the meaning of life? Mm-hmm. So I want to ask you, Darren Bailey, like, and you don't have to have a firm, complete answer, because I feel like the answer is always changing. But today, what is the meaning of life, and what does that mean to you?
I think we're all here to enrich each other's lives in some way. Mm-hmm. I think if you're not doing that, if you're not making a point of trying to make somebody else's life better, then you're missing the point of it. I mean, I don't like talking like politics or religion, but I'm not a religious person. I still, there's so much we just don't understand. So I can't say like what's going to happen or whatever after we die. But I know for a fact this is the life that I get. I know that because I'm in it. So for me not to try to make somebody else's existence better in some way, I don't know, I'd be like doing myself a disservice. There's like the personal journey. Obviously that's like important too, but I feel better whenever I do something good for someone else.
It's kind of like a collective journey. We're all on this journey together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just like humans have this like symbiotic relationship with each other, and if we really are the most intelligent things out there, then it seems it would behoove us to use that intelligence to enrich each other rather than hurt each other.
Mm-hmm. Well, there you have it, Kyle. You got an explanation of what the meaning of life is from a true actor who also used the word behoove. Mm-hmm. And I love and respect a person who uses the word behoove.
It is a good word.
I hope that's good enough for you, Kyle.
Yeah, Kyle. Yeah.
Guys, Kyle's a nice guy.
Kyle ordered a pussy hat.
He did.
And he knows how to wear pink. So I'm pretty pumped about this. All right, well, Darren, thank you so much. We're going to turn the mic off now, and we're going to talk some real trash about celebrities off mic.
Oh, my God.
Thanks for taking the time to talk to us today.
Thank you so much. You guys are awesome.
Oh, so are you.
Hey everybody, Cindy here, and I've got a special treat for our wonderful audience. The much anticipated Beauty and the Beast episode is happening next time on Cindy Says. Gina and Tina are going to head to the movie theater, they're going to come back and record their thoughts and present it to you all on the same day, so we can put this debate to bed. Is the movie any good? We'll find out next time on Cindy Says.